Before Britain was rich, India was richer. That is not an opinion. That is a fact buried in the ledgers of the British East India Company, documents they never expected anyone to read. In 1700, India produced nearly 25% of the entire world's wealth. 25%. The entire British Empire produced less than 3%. Let that sit. So how did one of the most prosperous civilizations in human history end up under the boot of a small island nation that could fit inside a single Indian state? The answer is not war. It is not conquest in the traditional sense. It is the single greatest financial crime ever committed against a people. And the number, the actual number, will break something inside you. Before the British arrived, India was not a struggling nation waiting to be developed. Dhaka muslin, Indian fabric so fine, so impossibly thin, that Europeans called it woven air. A single bolt could pass through a finger ring. Artisans spent months producing what machines still cannot replicate today. Indian merchants controlled spice routes. Indian ports processed more trade volume than all of Europe combined. The port of Surat alone was handling cargo that London could not dream of. India had banks. India had insurance systems. India had sophisticated credit networks that moved money across continents before Britain had paved roads. This was not a primitive civilization. This was the world. Then in 1757, everything changed. Not with a cannon, with a signature. The Battle of Plassey, June 23, 1757. The British East India Company, not even the British government, a private trading company, faced the Nawab of Bengal's army. The Nawab had 50,000 soldiers. The company had 3,000. By every measurement, Britain should have lost. But one of the Nawab's own generals had already been bribed. Mir Jafar stood his troops down mid-battle. The Nawab's army, 50,000 men, did nothing. And in 3 hours, the wealthiest province in Asia changed hands. Not to a nation, to a corporation. What happened next is what they will never teach in a British school. The East India Company immediately seized control of Bengal's tax collection. They called it Diwani rights. What it actually was a license to drain. Every rupee collected from Indian farmers, Indian merchants, Indian artisans, went directly into company accounts. Not reinvested in India, not spent on Indian roads or Indian hospitals. Extracted, shipped, gone. And here is where it gets darker. The company then used Indian tax revenue to buy Indian goods and exported those goods back to Britain at profit. India was paying for its own looting. The money never left the system. It just moved from Indian hands into British ships and across the ocean. Historian and economist Utsa Patnaik spent decades tracking this. She followed the data through 2 centuries of colonial trade records. Her conclusion, peer-reviewed, published, verified, is that Britain extracted the equivalent of $45 trillion from India between 1765 and 1938. $45 trillion. That is more than the current GDP of the United States and China combined. And it did not stop at money. The British systematically destroyed the Indian textile industry, the most advanced in the world, to protect British mills in Manchester. They imposed tariffs as high as 70 to 80% on Indian finished cloth entering Britain. Meanwhile, British machine-made fabric flooded India with zero tariff. Weavers who had fed their families for generations were left with nothing. Some starved. Some mutilated themselves. The craft did not survive. Then came the famines. Not natural disasters. Policy decisions. Between 1876 and 1879, while India was under British control, 5.5 million people died of famine in southern India. Grain was being exported from famine zones to Britain during the deaths. The viceroy at the time held a banquet for 60,000 people while Indians starved outside the gates. And then, 1943, Bengal. 3 million people died. 3 million. In a single famine. While India was still a British colony. While Indian grain was being diverted to British war supply lines. Winston Churchill, celebrated, memorialized, placed on British currency, was asked to release food supplies to Bengal. His response, recorded by his own War Cabinet Secretary, was to ask why Gandhi had not died yet. He said Indians were a beastly people with a beastly religion who had brought the famine on themselves by breeding like rabbits. 3 million people. And that was his response. Not one British official was ever prosecuted. Not one policy was reversed in time to save lives. Not one rupee was ever repaid. India finally won independence in 1947 after nearly 200 years of extraction. They did not receive an apology. They did not receive reparations. Britain received a partition, a border drawn in 5 weeks by a man who had never been to India, that caused the largest forced migration in human history. 1 million people died in the violence that followed. Britain left. The damage stayed. Today, Britain's GDP ranks 5th in the world. India is climbing back, the 5th largest economy now, projected to be 3rd within a decade. But economists who track colonial theft say India's trajectory was set back by at least 200 years. 2 centuries of compounding growth, stolen. $45 trillion. Not recovered. Not returned. Not even acknowledged in a British classroom. Now here is the question you need to sit with. Does your country have oil? Does your country have gold, diamonds, cocoa, timber, lithium, copper? Because what happened to India was not unique. It was a system, a tested, refined, exported system of legal theft wrapped in the language of civilization and progress. India had muslin. India had spice. India had silver and indigo and cotton and an economy that fed the world. And they called it underdeveloped. What are they calling your country's resources right now? Now, if you think India's story is devastating, wait until you hear what happened in Libya. A man sat on one of the largest oil reserves in Africa. He tried to break his country free from the same system that broke India. And within months of announcing his plan, he was gone. His country destroyed. His gold missing. That story drops on this page at 1 p.m. Universal Time Coordinated. You need to be here for it. Because once you hear what really happened to Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, you will never look at Western foreign policy the same way again. This is not conspiracy. This is documented. This is the factual truth they do not want trending. If this video shook you, share it right now. Not tomorrow. Now. Because the people in your circle deserve to know this. Every share puts this in front of someone who has never heard it. Come to our Facebook page and leave us a review. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you want exposed next. We read every single one. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we are just getting started. With time, we will be exposing corrupt politicians, hidden government operations, and the deals made in your name that you were never supposed to find out about. Follow this page. Follow the channel. Because the algorithm does not guarantee you see us next time. And if you don't follow, you might never see what's coming. The truth is being posted. The only question is whether you're here when it drops.